Oh my God, and like clockwork, I start recording and all these people start walking down my usually quiet suburban street. Brilliant. This happens every time and I don't know why. Hi everyone, welcome to another video. I hope you're all doing super well. Today's video, I thought let's just do like a nice, chill, cozy, casual video. It's the 1st of September as I'm recording this, so happy autumn. I am very hyped, very excited for autumn. And life's been like a bit tough for me lately. Things have been like a bit crap, especially when it comes to health related stuff. There's just been a lot going on in my personal life. And so today I thought, why not do a positive video? Today's video is a little bit of a curveball actually. I was planning to film a video about a rather interesting access experience that I had recently. Like I want to do a happy, positive video, a casual video. So I'm in my little casual outfit today. I've got my cup of tea, of course, and I hope you'll join me for some nice positive off-the-cuff vibes. So for this video, I have written my points, but I have not actually written any kind of script or anything like that. So this is going to be completely off the cuff. So that's what we're going to try today. And today we are going to talk about something that I feel like not a lot of people do talk about. It doesn't get talked about very much. So today we are going to be talking about 8 positive things, 8 optimistic things, 8 good things about having a disability / chronic illness. These are all just things from my perspective. So these are things that I personally think are good or positive, some silver linings, if you will. And I think overall, there's this, big stigma around all of the negative parts of having a disability, about how hard it is, because yes, it is oftentimes very, very difficult, but it is nice to think about the positive impacts that it can have on your life too. So whether you're able-bodied or whether you're disabled or chronically ill yourself, I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on this. Have you thought about this topic before? Have you thought about the positive things about disability? Because I think it's really, really important to celebrate the good things and the things that can just kind of make you a better person. So number 1 is that it gives you a different perspective on life and how to live it fully, / what success is, / what constitutes a good life. I think whether you were born with a disability or chronic illness, or whether you developed one over time or developed the symptoms of one over time, which is what happened to me, you pretty quickly realize that your life isn't going to follow the kind of prescribed social idea of what constitutes a good or successful life, because we're so focused on productivity, and oftentimes how we value people's worth as human beings is through their output. And I think with a chronic illness or a disability, you kind of end up falling into this anti-hustle culture, because I hate hustle culture anyway. I think it's really destructive. Everybody thinks they're having this wonderful time, this wonderful life, when really what they're doing is just being like super productive. And those two things, they're not necessarily the same. For example, if you have ME or chronic fatigue syndrome, the output that you produce on a daily basis is not going to be that like waking up at 5 a.m. routine and working all day and being super productive and having like 5 side hustles. Like that's just not going to be feasible for you. And I think you have to stop and consider, do you want that to be feasible for you? I think we can unlearn a lot of really harmful ways about how we value people through productivity. And obviously productivity is great, and I feel productive just filming this video, and productivity is good and it is important to create, whether that's a creative hobby or to produce stuff. However, I think equating a person's worth as a human being to their output or what they are bringing into the workspace, what they're doing activity-wise, can be really harmful. And I think it's a really good thing that we can unlearn that. Anyone can unlearn that, of course, able-bodied or disabled. You're kind of pushed when you are disabled or chronically ill into thinking, I'm not going to be hitting all of these benchmarks for life on this very specific timeline. And I think a lot of people actually don't. I think it makes a lot of people miserable when they say, oh, I haven't done this thing by this age. And by unlearning that, we can learn to be a lot more comfortable and happy with our life the way it is, rather than the way that we're told it should be in order for us to be happy. You kind of take a step back and think, well, would that make me happy? Or are there things in my life now and the way that my life is and is going to be that are going to make me just as happy and content? If you have something like ME or chronic fatigue syndrome, and what constitutes a good day for you is simply being able to get up out of bed, maybe to go for a short walk, or just do something you enjoy, like an activity or hobby you enjoy, or working for, I don't know, 2 to 3 hours per day, if that for you constitutes a win, then I think you very quickly unlearn the idea that the only way to feel good about yourself is working 12-hour days, getting up at 5 a.m, having this like, that girl productivity routine. You feel good for being able to do what you can do instead of feeling bad for what you can't do. And of course, there will be days where we're disappointed because our disability or chronic illness is stopping us from doing something that we would really love to do. And that does suck. But I think being able to unlearn this idea that we can't be valuable people or live a good life or a full life because we have a chronic illness or disability is garbage. I think it takes a lot of work and time, but learning to accept yourself and your life for where you're at and where it is honestly one of the most positive and optimistic things you can do. Number 2 is that it improves your empathy. I think this is very, very true because especially as somebody who, while I was technically born with my disability because it is a genetic thing, I did not start to experience my symptoms of disability until I was about sort of early 20s. I thought that I was an able-bodied person. And then as I transitioned into experiencing my symptoms and I realized I was not going to be an able-bodied person and that I was now a disabled person and that my life was going to look very different, I had to start considering a lot of very different things. As time moved on and my health changed and my abilities changed, I had to start considering things like accessibility at the events that I was going to. And I think this makes us a lot more open to considering other people's experiences too, not just people with our disability, but people with other disabilities. You simply start to notice more what the world is and isn't geared up towards. And I think that empathy for other people can only ever be a good thing. You start to realize the nuance of human experience beyond just your own personal sphere, because your personal sphere is changing at such a rapid rate. Mine certainly did, and even the things that I could do comfortably last year are different to the things that I can do comfortably now this year, and you're constantly evolving and changing. As I said, having those changing experiences and those changing abilities makes us more open to considering other people's experiences. So, turns out that I recorded this and it actually wasn't recording, or I've got up to a certain point and it's no longer recording. So we're going to try again. We're going to try again from my 4th point. So number 4 is that it makes you very, very good at self-care. Whether you were born with a disability or chronic illness, or whether like me, you were born with it but you started to experience your symptoms later in life, you are pretty much forced to start taking better care of yourself and take care of yourself in a different way. For example, there is pacing, and for the uninitiated, that is basically where you very carefully kind of pre-plan and allot your energy in a sensible way, being careful to kind of spend your energy in ways that are healthy and productive for you and not overdoing it. Because if you do, you end up in this like awful boom and bust cycle where you feel really unwell. You're kind of forced to take better care of yourself. And for me, I know I spend a lot of time trying to convince my able-bodied friends and family members to take it easy, to take it slow, to rest more and not overdo it. You get this like 6th sense. You're always considering, how is this going to affect me? And I think ultimately that can only improve your quality of life because you're learning to live better with the energy that you have, rather than fighting against the fact that maybe you have less energy than you'd like to have. Number 5 is customized mobility aids. Are fun, okay? They're fun. I'm a customization person. You know, if there's a video game with a customization element, I am all over it. There's a reason I spend like 4 hours on Sims. Like if I'm playing The Sims, I spend like hours just like making my Sims, dressing my Sims, customizing the house and like building the house for my Sims. And then I don't like play any of it because I've just spent like 4 hours customizing it. Having customized mobility aids is a really wonderful thing. As I've mentioned in my video up here, I talk a little bit about customization, so I'll leave that there. But I just love having mobility aids that feel like me. And it also actually kind of makes going out a lot more enjoyable because so many people are like amazed at my NeoWalk sticks and they're like, wow, I didn't know you could get sticks like that. Like, where is that from? And asking me about it. And it's just given me a lot of really positive experiences when I'm out and about. It's just made me feel like, oh, you know, someone likes my stick. Nice. But yeah, obviously, if you're into customization, being able to customize your walking sticks is it's a wonderful little bonus. Just a fun little bonus. Number 6 is that there is a lovely and helpful community online. And obviously I started my channel, my Instagram and my YouTube channel to kind of give back to the disability community that helped me so much. This community help me to accept my condition every single day. There are people online who are there to help, to support you. Like, literally the only reason I'm basically still on Facebook at all is because there's really helpful EDS groups there where it's like, help, my doctor doesn't know what this weird new symptom is, and everyone's like, oh, I have that, it's probably this. Bring your alarm meter down a few levels, knowing that you're not the only one. But obviously the online community is really wonderful, and I think there are different parts of the online community. You really have to find what works for you. There are parts of the community that are very activism focused, that share experiences, good and bad. There are different kind of approaches to the accessibility element of it as well. Obviously, we don't all agree on the same thing, but generally it's just a really wonderful community. It's like a community that encourages and supports each other to just kind of live better, or to live as well as possible. You know, like you wouldn't get that like a horse riding community, right? I don't know anything about horses or horse communities, but like I'm sure there are horse riding communities out there, you know, that are dedicated to like talking about horse riding, which is all well and good. But the disability community is literally just there to encourage each other to live better, to keep going, to be supportive and helpful. And I think it's a really wonderful community to be a part of. You don't get that everywhere. Number 7 is the chance to educate and spread awareness. Now, I am completely on board with people who say that it is not the job of anyone within a marginalised group to kind of educate or spread awareness. That is not our job as people, and I 100% agree. Not everyone wants to do that, and not everyone should have to do that. However, I do personally think, and obviously this stems from my own personal experience sharing online, that there is great power in being able to educate and spread awareness, because you can help those who are currently living with similar issues and the experiences of those in the future by trying to engage with other people and educate. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to like write a book about your experiences, or it's not necessarily like a teacher-student kind of relationship. So for me, for example, I know with my partner Kieran, and we've talked about this, he mentioned it up here in this video that we did, talking about our interabled relationship. He will be out somewhere like in a town and he'll say, oh, look at that, that's really bad for accessibility, or like, oh, this is really bad for accessibility, or oh, look at that. And as he said to me before in the past, those aren't things that he ever would have considered prior to meeting me. As an able-bodied person, it's just not something that he ever had to think about or consider. So just by living your life and kind of openly sharing your experiences with your loved ones and friends and family, you can help educate people, able-bodied people in this case, and they can just become more aware. And I think even that is a very helpful step. And as I said, like with my partner Kieran, it can happen very organically, where they're almost just picking things up over time from watching you, from listening to you. And I think that can only be a positive thing to help those in the disability community, you know, present and future. Okay, the final point number 8, is just skipping lines. Obviously, skipping queues is something that is an accessibility thing. So for me, for example, if I had to stand in a queue at like my favourite theme park, like if I was at Alton Towers, my favourite theme park, I had to stand in a queue for like 2.5 hours. I mean, number one, I couldn't stand in a queue for 2.5 hours anymore. But if I try to last as long as I could, for example, for me, that would mean my blood pooling in my knees and my feet. So I would not have a lot of blood kind of circulating my upper half. I would get dizzy. I'd probably get hip pain, knee pain. I'd be slouched over. I'd be not feeling well at all. So obviously, skipping queues is an accessibility need. But at the same time, who doesn't want to skip a queue? Straight through to the convention, straight through the entrance, picking up your ticket immediately and being able to go and enjoy yourself a little bit sooner. It is those silver linings. And I know that we English people have a reputation for loving to queue, loving to stand in lines. I would much rather be out and about and have a little extra time to, wander around a convention or attend an event, because I just would probably keel over standing in a long line like that. Skipping lines, it is a silver lining bonus. So that is all of my points on the positive sides of having a disability and chronic illness. I hope you all enjoyed this. Maybe it gave you some thoughts or ideas of your own. Did I forget something? Do you see the flip side of some of these? Do you agree? Please let me know in the comments below. I really appreciate everyone watching this video, and hopefully the accessibility Pride storytime video, I will be able to film it soon. I just have to dig myself out of this pessimism pit and get myself in a better mental headspace to share what was actually kind of a bit of a difficult situation with you all. But hopefully today this positive, happy, cozy little video has made you smile, made you think about some positive things about your disability or health condition. Please feel free to like this video and subscribe. Every little click helps out the channel. So thank you very much for watching. I will see you guys all in my next video, and until then, love and spoons. Take care. Bye.